This is the I Love Success podcast. I'm Peter Jabrukowski, and I have made a vow to myself to help as many people as possible to achieve their dreams. Let's get started. Hey guys, and welcome back to the I Love Success podcast. It feels like I've been saying that a couple of times now, and maybe I should change what I say, but I think it works. Otherwise, let me know. This is a very, very special episode for me. It's the 301st episode of the I Love Success podcast. So if you've been with me on this journey, I just want to say how grateful I am to have you here. I hope you learned something from all of these incredible people I've had the honor to sit down with. And if you're new to the show, thank you for being here. I have a big fat mission. I want to help a lot of people. As a matter of fact, at least 10 million people to go after their dreams. I'm a big dreamer, and I'm a big believer in, setting goals and going after what you want. We all have a story. You might be struggling right now. You might feel like this works for some people and it doesn't work for other people. It worked for the rich. It worked for if you're born in that zip code. But I'm here to tell you, I've met people from all walks of life, and it does work for everyone if you are able to change the way you think and then put that action in. And, it's an honor to do this episode with a special guest. He's a super close friend of mine, and he has been a supporter since episode 1. He was actually the guy who brought Toby, our audio engineer, that stuck with us for like 150 or 180 episodes or so. So he's been a tremendous support, and met him many years ago, and he always brought, joy and happiness, and just shared so many great things. So I'm a big fan. I'm honored to have him as a friend, and he just have a complete unique story. His name is Malick Jarboh, and if you want to go back and kind of hear more of his story, go to episode 17. Yes, 17. You just Google Malick Jarboh, the same name as the episode here, and you can listen to episode 17. That was a great show as well, going a little bit deeper on his story. Today, we're going to focus more on the value and what has happened in his life since then. So without further ado, let's welcome Malick Jarboh to the I Love Success podcast again.
Hi, Peter. Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm so excited to be here, and it's great to be your 301st episode. Huge congratulations on 301 episodes. That's an amazing accomplishment.
Thank you so much. And I think, just to share with the audience, it's about the consistency, right? And that we're seeing that in every human being that has done something good. It's about the consistency and showing up for yourself every single day. Just the small little moments, they add up. I didn't think I would make it this far, but I just did. I was just focusing on the next one and on the next one. But let's turn the tables and let's focus on you here for a second, because you have so much knowledge. You have so much, joy in your life, and you're going through your own struggles as well as any human being. But let's just share, people who don't know Malick, like, who are you? Like, what are you up to? And a little bit of that.
Yeah, just real quick, very similar to when I spoke to you on episode number 17. I would say that I'm a big dreamer. I'm someone that loves to set big visions and goals and just go after them, meet new people, have new and unique experiences, and constantly challenge myself. And that's kind of, I think, what drove me to actually meet you, Peter. That's what drove me to go and study in Los Angeles a couple of years ago, and that's where we met. Even though I was born and raised all the way in Sweden, so that was incredible. And since then, I've been working in technology, and that's been a big focus of mine. And now currently I'm I'm working in tech at one of the biggest social media companies in the world. So it's been a
Facebook.
tremendous. Yes, exactly. So so yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to for the last couple of years. So it's a lot has happened since we spoke the last time.
Yeah.
And yeah, learned a lot.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And when you were sharing this, I just want to share this with the audience so they can kind of get a visual, because like if you're out there dreaming of something, I've seen Malick way before this when he was like on his way up, and I feel like you're probably already like you're still on your way up, and there's still a lot of, you know, dragons to slay, so to speak. But uh, everybody who's listening, like it's not about like where you are in life, because we meet all these people, it's super cool what they have accomplished, but look at what they have done instead. And I can tell you from, you know, being able to watch you from a side and as a friend, you know, you showed up even when you didn't have the things that you wanted in your life. You still had the positivity. You were doing, you know, minimum wage jobs, but performing them as a champion. And I think that's something that we can't forget that. And then once you get to this level, I mean, we should speak often, more often, by the way. And I take blame for that. I'm sorry, but we spoke like a couple of months ago, and you were still in the office working at a like in an evening. You showed me your beautiful office, you know, on Facebook in Ireland. I was so impressed, and I thought for myself, like, this guy, he's done this journey, and it's amazing. But you're not stopping there because you want something more. And I think Tony Robbins call it insatiable hunger. Like, where do you think that comes from, and why do you have it?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and Tony Robbins is really the best person to bring up from that, because I do think that the hunger is really what separates a person from another, right? Or and makes the whole difference in you accomplishing that goal. And what I have to say, and I have to be honest and admit, is that it's not always just automatic, right? That you just wake up with this insatiable hunger to go after that. It's actually something that I have to practice. And I would say what's really, really helped me along the way is visualization, which I know you talk about a lot, Peter. And all the successful people that I hear on podcasts such as this one, they talk about visualizing it and feeling it. So what really creates that hunger within me is that I create a vision that I have created that's for my life and my needs and what I want to do and what's gonna feel amazing for me. And I'm thinking, what if, right? And I make it as clear as possible. When that vision is not clear, when I feel that is blurry, yeah, or that I'm not on the trajectory towards it, that's when I don't have that hunger anymore, and I don't really find purpose in the day-to-day. And actually the funny thing is that the more successful you are, or the more things that you overcome and accomplish, the more difficult it's going to be, I think, to sustain the hunger. Yeah. Because after every thing that you overcome, you're going to think about, okay, what now? So you kind of have to rebuild yourself. You have to reinvent yourself. So I'm kind of just coming into a new season now where I'm reinventing myself again. Yeah. I have to kind of break down everything that I've accomplished so far and just start from zero again to generate that hunger again, to just say, is day zero, I'm just a learner, and start learning again as day one. So that's really what I'm doing right now.
That's cool. Tell me more about that. Like, what is it? Because you feel like you're in a good spot right now and it's kind of cozy in that warm bed of yours?
Yeah, it's easy. And also you can get lost, right? Because what happens when you accomplish what you wanted maybe 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah.
So you have to generate a new thing, a new set of rules. And also you're in a new environment. Maybe your own needs, dreams, and desires have changed completely, right? Um, as we gain more wisdom.
Yes.
So you have to create a new clear vision that comes from you. Because basically, if you don't create your own vision, then you're going to be put into someone else's.
Yeah.
Uh, really. So um, I think it's very important that you have a clear vision on what you want to do, and that you make it as clear as possible. Because I think when we go through the day to day,
Yeah.
it's very easy to say, okay, I just want to improve this, or I want more money, more health. But just saying more health or being in better shape, that's not clear enough. You might have to say that um, you want to be, you know, reach X amount of strength, or reach X amount of money, or reach X amount of, freedom, or go to this place. So what's really helped me is me asking myself, I have a limited time on this planet, and I'm just thinking, okay, well, what do I actually want to experience? And
Yeah.
not what someone tells me, gives to me, not what I watch on television or someone else do, but really, what do I want to experience? What's important to me? And I think what's interesting is I noticed, like, with time, those things becomes fewer and fewer. It becomes a few things that are very important um, as I go on, and then the rest is becomes less and less important. And that I think is a relief, and that makes life easier.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that. And I want to talk about your situation now and like what like reinventing yourself. But let's talk about like first like the hunger and like peel away a couple of more layers. So like why do you think that was so important to you? I mean, you grew up in Sweden, you could have chilled, have a regular job and just be fine. Like why, like what made you like do all these crazy things? For people don't know, this guy worked in a he moved to uh, Norway and worked in a like on a outside in a forest on like in a building, and there was nothing there, just to save up money to pay for his school in Pepperdine University, which is a great university. But how, like all those crazy things that you went through, like why, man? You could have just chilled and be okay.
Yeah, that's such a good point. But yeah, I just wanted more, and I was just so inspired and had so much energy of just that thought of thinking that, you know, what if I could take myself out of my environment?
Yeah.
And I think I had a thought a couple years ago, um, because I thought that, hey, what I noticed with human beings is that we are so affected by our environment.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, I was like, it's interesting. Everyone around me, where I'm at right now, they're so similar to each other. It's very interesting. Everyone in this environment are so similar. So I was thinking, so if I would move to Manhattan, whoever I am, if I would move to Manhattan and I would live with Wall Street bankers that were on Wall Street for 3 years, and all I was doing was just live with them, eat with them, whether they paid me or not. If I would just spend 3 years with them, I would become them, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't I? I would. I mean, I would at least, maybe I wouldn't be 100% as good as them, but at least 50%. Because if anything about human beings is that we are adaptable. We just adapt to environment. So I was like, wow, right now, the environment that I was in Sweden, that environment really did not inspire me, and it would really just put me in a kind of a bad trajectory. So I was thinking, what if I put myself in a whole different environment? And that's why I wanted to get the Pepperdine. So
Yes.
I had that hunger to just force myself and think, you know what? I'm 20 something. And I also, for a big part of my growing up, I didn't have my father there.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, I have to challenge myself. And the more I can challenge myself now, that will shape me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So I will do whatever it takes to be in those environments. And the funny thing is yeah, still a lot of those things that were instilled during that period, um, when I was in university, when I moved to the US, those things are still there. People still think I'm an American even.
Yeah.
That's kind of how deep deep it went. So yeah, changing environment is such a key. So that's kind of why I was so inspired, um, to get away and work in Norway and save up all the money so I can get to this environment.
And how has it worked with your with your mindset? Did you feel like being around better not better people, but people that have maybe a better mindset or more a growth mindset? Uh, did that help grow your mindset as well, or how does that work?
Yeah, no, they help grow my mindset, 1,000%, 1,000 percentage points. Just seeing people who were super talented, but still extremely, extremely driven, and just kind of seeing what the ceiling was, but also um, being a bit uncomfortable, right? Because you're seeing people who might be far ahead of you. As people who are listening to this podcast probably knows, is that Peter, for example, he is a world medalist in karate. So being around people like that with just a tremendous drive, that is really inspiring to see every day, to see someone that's going after life, and you see also that that's your friend, and you can see that they're humans
Yeah.
just like you know, that take missteps, they have good days, bad days, and I think that's the key. So yeah, so being around that really also gave me confidence that, hey, maybe I could try.
And how do you get those types of friends? Because for me in my life, people who know my story, I was bullied, I was chubby, I was short, but somehow I kept showing up, and then in the beginning, the people that maybe were ahead of me, they didn't want to be around me, but when they saw the effort in some way, they respected that, even though they didn't see the results. But like, how has it been for you in your life? How have you been able to attract great people around you? I know every time we meet, you always arrange dinners and you bring people together that are, you know not only they're good human beings, but they're also very good at what they do, which is like, I think that's a cool combo, and that's something that I admire, people that do well and that are good human beings. It's a beautiful thing, because if you have the ability to help others, I think that's what we're here for, right?
I 100% agree with you. And yeah, you just kind of have to take the first step yourself and be genuine. And I think from Steve Covey, I think that says that you want to be more interested than you're interesting, I guess. So I just show a massive amounts of curiosity about people, and it's very genuine. So, and that's always helped me.
Yeah.
I just uh, tell the person, whoever it is, it might be an author or someone who was an athlete like you, and I just say like, wow, I'm so impressed at how you did this, and how did you handle this challenge, and I kind of ask them how they did and how they accomplished it, and just try to be as genuine and curious as possible, and also just show people that you're doing your own work, that you're on your own path, and that you're focused and that you're willing to do the homework. I think that will attract the good people, or
Yeah.
and they will see it.
I think one thing that I'm starting to learn now, and I think this comes with age and experience, is that like when you're not chase, like I used to chase a lot of, friends because I wanted to have good friends, and it never really worked out for me because they they maybe weren't the right people in my life. But now when I'm kind of more chill about it, it kind of works better, and focusing on just being, kind to others and try to help as much as you can, but still be tough. And I'm curious, like, you've moved a lot. Like, how has that experience been for you, like starting to get, new friends and putting yourself out there again, and things like that?
Yeah, that can be, like you said, it can be very treacherous, and it's not easy. After you're out of college, it's definitely not as easy. um, but just like you said, it's just putting out that uh, positive energy, being yourself, 1,000%, and the right people will attract to you. And just like you said, I think, I mean, anything in life, whether it's money, friends, relationships, it will not be good long term if you have to chase it. Chase it is like a temporary solution. You might have it for a short while, but you're gonna lose it. And even if you do get it, it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be what you think. So yeah, we do definitely have the same insight and the same learning there. And I think we've done probably the same mistakes, that it does not work. It does not work. And yeah, I think it's even repulsive. And also, if we even look, people talk about law of attraction and all of these things, the universal law. So yeah, if you have to chase it, right? That's almost you saying to yourself that you don't have it and you don't deserve it, in a way. So um so so that's just, yeah, it's just a bad way to go. And I've really learned to just be laid back and focus on myself. I heard Russell Brand, the comedian,
Yeah.
and he also has a very big YouTube channel now. He says a lot of people want to be included in things, right?
Yeah.
But he said, maybe instead of wanting or needing to be included, he said more important than that, he said you should address the sadness. Yeah, he said more important than wanting and trying to be included is that you should address the sadness. And I think that's so true. And that's also how you become more independent to how the world is reacting, because you can look at any celebrity, you can look at, yeah, all the things that are going on. You can see that there's people that people love for 10 years, and then 1 or 2 months later they hate that person.
Yeah.
Right? Or it's some rumor about this person, or something happens. It's always that cycle.
Yeah.
um Justin Bieber was on top for a couple of years, and then he falls out of favor for some reason. But you can't base your whole personality on how people are constantly reacting. That comes and goes. So being, yeah, emotionally independent to the whims of the world, I think huge if you can do it. But of course, it's a tough practice. But those people that are, I think also that they are very attractive. So that's kind of the fun part too, that if you see someone that believe in themselves, we can bring Zlatan as a as a as an example, right? He doesn't care, and we sense that we know that this guy is himself,
Yeah.
1,000%, and he's very attractive. So then everyone is attracted to him.
It's crazy though, because what you said about all want to be included, and when you said that, I was starting thinking like that's exactly what I wanted for a big part of my life. I wanted to be included, and the result of being so needy and wanting to be included was that I wasn't included at all, and even when I was included, I wasn't really included. And I think
Right.
if we look at us as human beings, like a lot of times we chase that inclusion, but when we get it, we realize it's not real. And then you meet those super confident people that they're not trying to be included, but they're included everywhere. So let's just talk about that.
Exactly.
Like, how do you gain that confidence and to show up, or to move to a new country, or to travel to Brazil all by yourself, and like doing all these cool things? Like, how do you get that confidence?
Yeah, I think how gaining that confidence is basically just doing it. um that's number one. So take risk, but also think about what is the other option. The other option is that you have to live within someone else's box.
Yeah.
So I think I've been maybe I have a rebellious streak within me, but I would never want to, at my deathbed, just leave this planet and then say, oh man, I wanted to do this. I wanted to travel there. I wanted to go there. I wish I could have done that. But I was afraid of this or this person judging me, or what this person would say. And that's people, and that might be people that, at that point when you're 110 years old, they're not even in your life. There's going to be people you barely even remember who they are, or they even might not even remember who you are. So
Yeah.
what does it matter, right? And they were not even, and the funny thing is, they're probably not even thinking about you like you think they are.
Yeah.
They got their own issues. They're probably super insecure.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, go for it. And I think, yeah, I'd rather go. It's better go for it. Let people think what they think. um there's always going to be some opposition or someone who doesn't agree, but the
Yeah.
most important thing is that you did what you wanted to do. So yeah, that's kind of what gives me confidence. And also hearing from other people who've been successful and walked the path, is that they went through the same thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I think you meet people when you've seen people that have gone after it. It's that mutual level of respect, because you understand the journey it took to climb that mountain. And I'm curious, like, how do you deal with loneliness? Like, I think we all feel lonely at some times, but I do believe people that are taking more risk, that are moving to other countries, that are going after it, has to experience more time in solitude than many others that stay in their in their village, or so to speak. So just curious, like, how have you dealt with that in your life, and what advice do you have to others that they're like, yeah, I would love to do this, but I'm scared of leaving my friends, my family, and I don't want to feel lonely.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, especially now after COVID and the pandemic,
Yeah.
where a lot of people had to spend time on their own. and we realize how important community is. But for me, I think for some reason, it's like when I think about my family that has my back, and when I think about friends like you, Peter, who are such a dear friend who I consider family, I always feel like those people have my back, and those people are always with me, regardless of where on the planet I am. And I can always just pick up the phone, reach out, because we have a very deep friendship. I think the time that I felt the loneliest actually is one of the times I had the most people around me.
Oh,
The
really?
fun, that's the fun. Yeah, that's the interesting part. So I would say that was very early when I moved to the US, when I was in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I think that probably was the first or second quarter. And of the semester, and just like a lot of other college kids, you know,
Yeah.
we out and we party a lot, and we meet a lot of new people, especially coming to a new country. So I met so much people.
Yeah.
I met so much different people, but I mean, none of those people I could just call a friend, or none of those people I could actually just be like, hey man, I need a place to stay, or hey, none of them were really deep friends in that way. They were more just, hey, there's a party tomorrow, let's go out,
Yeah.
or just simple things like that. But that was it. That was the extent of the friendships. I had a bunch of acquaintances, but no real friends,
Yeah.
you know. So that made me think, and that really made me kind of change my view on things. So after that, I spent more time and focused more on the relationships that were giving me something, people who were inspiring me. So I spent more time there and less time in trying to know everybody.
Yeah.
I wasn't really interested in that anymore.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. And that's changed for me probably in the past 10 years or so, because if you would know me, but probably between 20 and 25, I used to call people all the time, and I had many acquaintances, but what I realized was that none of them were calling me. They were very happy to talk to me, and they were very happy, but they were not really friends. And then when I started scaling down and realized, okay, these are my real people in my life, then it's just made me feel better. And I think I was chasing, being liked. And I think that's what a lot of people do. They chase being liked, and they end up wasting a lot of, valuable years just chasing people that really doesn't care about them, instead of, going deep and going for impact. But I'm curious now. Let's just, fast forward. You got your dream, man. You're in your dream, and now you're, let's say, okay, but I'm reinventing myself. So okay, let's just talk about that. And I think it's all about the layers, right? And I want to read a quote from Bruce Lee that I was thinking about uh, when we were talking about this. And he said, if you always put limits on everything you do, physical or anything else, it will spread into your work and into your life. There are no limits. There are only plateaus, and you must not stay there. You must go beyond them. I feel like that kind of describes where you are right now. But I don't know.
That is so true. The funny thing is, I heard that quote today, actually,
Oh, wow.
uh, by Tom Bilyeu
Yeah.
was saying. I was listening to Tom today. So wow, so that's a really fun coincidence. But yeah, just like you said, I think we all come to those plateaus
Yeah.
where we feel like, wow, what is next, right? You come to a certain point and you say, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
This is fine. This is good. A lot of people would consider this good, or whatever, but there is really no, in real life, if you look at nature, right? it's either growing or it's dying.
Yeah.
There is really no state that's just still
Yeah.
like that. It's I guess in physics terms, I think it's called entropy.
Okay. Yeah.
So that things deteriorate. So we have to move.
Yeah.
We have to move. We have to move. We have to thrive. We have to push ourselves. So yeah. So every time you come to the other side of an accomplishment, that's when you need to sit down with the pen and paper again and start creating that new vision and start climbing the mountain again. Even though you don't want to climb the mountain again, because you're thinking, man, I've done this 10,000 times. Do I have to go again?
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, you have to go in, and that's the exciting part.
Yeah. And I'm curious, but do you have to go again though?
You have to go again. At least if you want to live with that hunger, that that true passion and desire, I think it's the only way to go, to create a vision. And that's not saying that you should not be content or grateful for what you have or where you are. And this is not only material things. It could be anything. It could be just learning and developing, right?
Yeah.
But um yeah, I think that's really the juice of life, to become more so that you can also give more and be more, um and experience more. Because what is the option? Because the other option is not becoming more, right? It's not giving more, it's not expanding. Now you're contracting,
Yeah.
and that's probably going to be very painful.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part, because if you're not growing, as you say, you're actually becoming less. And we sometimes we do think like, I'm in a sweet spot, I just want to stay here forever. When we're at the beach laying and you feel the sun and you have that drink, it just feels amazing, but it's not going to last forever. Because if you do that every day, soon you're an alcoholic and you also have skin cancer. Plus, there's no growing. So I mean, it's kind of like, I'm thinking about this a lot, man, because in a way, we're looking, as human beings, we also look for comfort. In a way, we want to have that security, we want to feel that we are in a safe place. But then we see people like yourself and say, hey, no, I reached this level in my life, but now it's time to go to the next level. And one part of me, I got to be honest, say, oh, that sounds exhausting. And the other part of me is excited by that. So I'm just curious, like, how do you feel about all those things? Like, are you able to shift that focus into something, positive and good?
Yeah, so that's kind of where you have to turn it so that it pulls you.
Yeah.
You want a vision and mission. And also, I think the biggest motivator for me is the gift of who I'm gonna become.
Yeah.
So what I'm becoming. So that is, I think, what's most excited about me. Not really what I'm getting,
Yeah.
but just what I'm becoming and what I'm learning in the process. So that's incredibly exciting for me and exhilarating, and that what makes me want to push through those times when it gets really hard. For example, now I'm actually learning a new language. So
Wow.
I've been practicing Portuguese for a couple months, and a new language, to take on a new language, you know, after you're 25, may not be the most fun thing in the world. It's not always the easiest thing in the world either. And I think this would be kind of my fifth language
Wow.
if I learn it. But that's why I'm doing it too, because it is hard, it is difficult, it is just that thought of thinking, well, I want to be that person that speaks 5 languages,
Yeah.
that takes on a Latin language, even though, Swedish is more Germanic, um, and it's not maybe the easiest language for me to learn.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why not? Why
Mhm.
not? Why not learn a language, um, and speak with those people and say, hey, I put in the work and I put in the effort, and for me, it's just exciting of becoming that person who just said, oh, I can learn that. Because what I'm noticing, just like you said in the quote, is that now when I'm learning the language, it's actually inspires me to want to learn other things.
Yeah.
So now I'm more engaged right away because I'm noticing how I'm learning, and I'm talking to people. For example, now when I traveled, I was talking to people in their language and they were impressed. They were like, whoa, okay, you only practice like 2-3 months. I was like, yes. So that makes me think, what else can
What
I
else
go
is
after?
out there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're doing it the complete right way, man. And also like learning a new language and enjoying the fruits of that, going to the, carnival in Rio and being able to speak it with your mind and body and in the, like, so I was following you on Instagram stories when you were traveling, and it warmed my heart because you've been talking about this for years and now you're doing it. So this is something that I want you to understand. If you're listening to this show, it takes time. The vision you have right now, it might not happen tomorrow, but if you stick to your guns and if you keep it in your mind, it will transpire, and you just have to keep going after it. And there's no better feeling, and it must have felt amazing for you when you know your story, right? Where you come from and how you have grown up and everything you've done, and now you're able to do these kinds of things. So first off, hats off to you. And just like, can you just talk about that experience? Because I want people to understand how that feels, because that's a drive that I think that gasoline is like, yeah, just like a Ferrari, man.
Yeah, no, it feels amazing. Um, it feels amazing, man. It's really a gift. It's really a gift, and I do really feel very blessed and lucky, that like I can sit down, write something down, work for it, and then actually go see it with my own eyes. Um, and that's the juice of life, because it's your movie, you're directing it. Who are the cast members? What do you want to experience? And when I'm saying this, I'm actually very, very serious, um, because this life and this world is so big. It is so big that really one human being, probably there's no one on this planet that really can understand everything that goes on, that can just put it all together. It's just, we have Google Maps and we have, some videos from different places, but we don't really understand the actual what's going on, right?
No.
So until we really there, and no one can be everywhere. So what I'm saying is that, it's all about perspective, and this world has a billion different perspectives to see the world from, to way of life, to whatever. And you should chase yours. You should chase whatever fits you. You should chase whatever you want to be in. Because, for example, Peter, you grew up in Helsingborg, right? But
Halmstad.
you saw,
Close.
huh?
Hamstad.
Halmstad, sorry, Halmstad.
All the people from northern Sweden, like, you're from Skåne.
Halmstad.
It's close
Oh
enough.
man.
Close enough, man.
And I even went there, and I even went. How can I say that? Uh, so yeah, so you're from Halmstad, right?
Yeah.
But you found a spot in Los Angeles. You saw Bruce Lee, and you said, "Wow, maybe that would fit me on the other side of the world." So, and I think that's what makes the discovery process so exciting, because what I did notice when I came back home was how small our world is.
Yeah.
My world is so small. People tell me, "Oh man, you traveled a lot, you lived in a lot of different places." But when we really think about it, I maybe lived in 5, 6 different cities. That's a very small sliver of this planet.
Yeah.
So I really haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
So for any person there who's really haven't been around, it's like what you are around right now and what you're choosing and the perspective that you're seeing through, that's just one perspective out of millions.
Yeah.
So yeah, one shift, one just, going and seeing something could change your whole life and your whole circumstances. So it's like, don't give up. There might be just another perspective, just one step away.
Yeah.
That changes everything. So, and I think that really inspires me, and it makes me understand also just how small our world is, especially, when we start working, all we do is just go from home to work, maybe, look little at social media, look at television, and then you go to bed. That's pretty much your whole world. So there's way more out there.
Be open.
Yeah.
Malick, I'm curious, like, people that are listening to this that want to, start, they just want to have a good year. They just want to go after it. They just want to, like, they feel like, okay, there's either you're kind of stuck or you're in a good position, what you want to do better, or something in between. You're crushing it, but you still want to take it to the next level. But what are you feel like, what are your best advice for people out there, like, to get some clarity right now?
Well, that's kind of all I can say. Is just my own experience, really, what I can share. What's worked for me. And that's just putting pen to paper, really, again, and just being very clear on what I want to experience.
Yeah.
Because I think even saying, what do I want to achieve, that can kind of muddle the waters a little bit. Because when you actually say, okay, what do I want to achieve? Then you think about, achievement, success. Then you think, okay, I'm going to be a billionaire. I want to blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, being a billionaire, right, that might just be a proxy to what you want to experience.
Yeah.
Because no one can experience dollar bills. No one can really experience just, I guess, money on a screen, or maybe you can. But still, I think it's probably deeper than that, right? So what do I actually want to experience? What is the experiences that I want to have? And the good part is, when you ask yourself what you want to experience, is that it doesn't have to cost $1 billion a lot of the times. It's actually, a lot of the times, it might even be much closer than what you think. Yes. So that's kind of where I start. What do I want to experience in this life? And then I try to put pen and paper, like you say in the goal book, Peter, and write it down, right? And make it as clear as possible and really feel it. And I try to go with the vision until I really do get fired up and I have that emotional component, because otherwise I really won't want to go for it. It has to be, you have to make it deep. You have to make it emotionally. You have to make it aligned with your values and your needs that you want to live through. So doing that, and then also what's helped me sometimes is kind of leaving my current environment, going somewhere else, and then coming back. I think that's also a big part of why we travel, is we go far away to come back with new eyes, to see the place where you started at with new eyes. That's also a big part of why I travel. I always think it's interesting to come back to see my parents after I've done a big journey and talk to them again and see, have I changed on the inside? Is there something inside of me that's changed with me this time? So do that. That helps as well to get a new perspective. And and also just have amazing people around you. I had a coffee with a dear friend of mine after I came back from my trip, and that really fired me up, just because he was so inspirational, and he was inspiring me as well. So I can't say enough about having good friends around, how that really helps.
I love that. And I love what you said. What do I want to experience? Because that changes a lot of things, and also takes away, that we're like, a lot of times we're just focused on the end result, but the experience is what life is all about. And I'm actually, that was a great reminder for me. Sometimes I'm too focused on like the achievement, but it's really about the experience, isn't it?
That's what I'm thinking, right? The whole thing, even getting to the goal itself, is an experience. Yeah. And
wow. You made me think now, Malick, and I think this is great, and that's why I do these types of shows, because I want to grow, I want to learn, and it's always a pleasure to be with you, and I'm grateful for your time. And I know you have a great podcast. I know you're great on social media. Like, can you just, if people want to connect with you, learn more, and hear more about your wisdom and travels and marketing, where can they find you?
So you can find me on Instagram at Malick, MALICK _ Jarboh, JARBOH. So that's my Instagram. And I also have a website for my podcast, and that is brandblueprints.com. And you'll have a link to my podcast there.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Malick. Any other final words before we let you go?
Yes, I would just say, if you have a vision, don't be scared. Just go for it, and keep listening to the I Love Success podcast. It's an amazing podcast, and Peter is an amazing guy, and he is the real deal. So, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Malick. I'll pay you. I'll send the check later.
Sounds good.
Just kidding. It's just great to be around good people, and I just want to say that from the bottom of my heart. I feel like I'm so blessed with good people around me, and I look at it, why have I been able to, why does these people, these amazing human beings, want to be around me and want to help me? And I think it comes down to, after I analyze, is that I want to give, and that I always try to give. So if you want to create that, great surrounding, start by giving with no expectations. Many people will not give back, and that's fine, because you're not expecting that. But just by giving and being positive into that, your life just by giving itself, that's the gift. That is the gift, right? Uh, and this is why we do this show. It's completely free, but there's so much value here. So if you enjoy the show, I want to ask you for a favor. Please give us a review. Please share it with somebody else. Let's grow this movement of positivity, and let's see more people out there like Malick, that we can see like doing some positive things in the world, creating a good life, traveling, and just making these connections. This is what makes me happy. Please let us know if we can help in any way with your goals. You can find us anywhere. You can just shoot me a DM or an email. Happy to help. I want to hear your story. And that's it. This is episode 301. We're not gonna stop. The pace have gone down a little bit because the amount of things that are happening in my life has increased, but I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep putting these shows out. But please give me some gasoline, so I want to do more of this. That would help me a lot. Thank you so much, and thanks again, Malick, and I'll talk to you soon.